The only problem is that with the president's ulterior motives, this thing will be totally abused.
And that's the issue.
It will be totally abused.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the issue that people are bringing up. The reason why sometimes governments do not want to educate people is because these politicians know once people have this information and they're educated, it's difficult to manipulate them. So right now, it is so easy to go tell the average Kenyan, like our Somali, they're the reason why, like things are not. It is so easy to do that. It is so easy to manufacture that hate when this knowledge is not there at all. It is so easy. You always have to ask yourself a question. Whenever a politician comes and tells you, Wale, those other people from that other community are the reason why you're not doing well, your radars have to go up immediately because they prey on the fact that people don't know these stories, they don't know this history. So it's easy to manufacture a story and create hate and to manipulate political opinions. If you are born in 1980 or if you were born in 1948 like you, where are you getting your grandfather's birth certificate? Where are you getting it? Where are you getting your
grandfather yako alizaliwa chini ya mti hata kuzaliwa hospitali?
Yeah, I know.
And this
I know.
And this
by
is,
the way,
and this is also history.
By the way, my late grandmother was actually a midwife. Wala walikuwa wanazalisha nyumbani. So people used to give birth at home, and this is even so recently.
Like even most of our parents, most of our parents were born, not even uko tu.
Generation yetu ndo tumezaliwa kwa hospitali.
Sisi ndio
tumezaliwa. Yes, generation yetu ndo tumezaliwa hospitali because my grandmother alikuwa anazalisha watu mpaka 1970s. There are people who were born in 1970s, aliwazalisha, and that's why I'm saying, like some of these processes, initially maybe there was a reason, but they became abused and they became an angle for extortion. And through that extortion, now people who are not Kenyans took advantage of the situation where they realized, oh, by the way, huku mtu akilipa anaweza pata any document. So you have, you have a lot of, Somali citizens who are given Kenyan documents. You have a lot of Indians who were given Kenyan documents when they were Kuja, not those ones who are originally Kenyan. You have people from all kinds of places in Kenya who have Kenyan documents because that system now was completely abused because it started by trying to wring money out of the people who are being vetted. Then now people outside saw, oh, kumbe hawa watu ni hongo tu wanataka. Then they started doing that and giving IDs to other people. The other controversial part that also the president said, it's not controversial to me, but it's controversial because it's coming from the president and his ulterior motives, is that fast tracking, idea refugees kupatiwa residency and citizenship in Kenya. To me, in my own view, because I'm looking at this now differently, outside of Ruto, someone who was born in Kakuma or Dadaab in 1992, hajawahi kuwa Somalia, and now you're in your 30s, you're 32 years old, you have a Kenyan education, unaongea Kiswahili. I have no problem with such people being given a path to citizenship. I honestly don't. The only problem is that with the president's ulterior motives, this thing will be totally abused.
And that's the issue.
It will be totally abused. And I think that's part of the issue that people are bringing up.
That is the issue. So Ali, that is the issue.
So mnasema kuna wase wataletwa in truckloads na wapewe nini? Wavote.
Again, That's the issue.
Watavukishwa.
That is the issue. And, like, okay, maybe, like here how Kerea, the twice convicted Kerea is setting up citizenship Kerea department. Maybe we should a vetting department. Anyway, I think there's a mischaracterization. There's a lot of misjudgment. There's lack of education because people just don't know. And that brief history that Ali gave us is a good insight because sometimes it's good to really understand. Like now, whatever has been going on in Gaza, we never understood it because we always thought that these guys are the bad guys, the aggressors. Not until you find out, you learn that the history,
yeah,
and that is what is lacking because now with that you can empathize, you can know. You can be like, okay, now I get it. Okay, no, fine, but let this process be legit. How can we verify or how can we whatever? Okay, to make it, because remember, we were born into borders.
True. Yes.
We were not there when these were being cut up. I think almost maybe like 2 years after the Berlin conference.
Sure.
But
our parents were actually not born into borders. Our parents are not born. We were born into borders. Our parents, the borders they were born in were different from the borders that we were born in. So remember, if you were born in the coastal strip before the 60s, before 1963, you actually not you're not a Kenyan. You are not a Kenyan.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So this thing is very fluid, and of course it goes back to the Berlin conference.
Yeah.
And even when we look at the conflict in the DRC, which will soon bring experts to break it down.
Yes, because
you will see that what people are learning now is that Rwanda, Burundi, and a certain part of Eastern Congo, it was one big community, but one portion was taken by the Belgians, another one by, I don't know, the French. These borders were split up. So those people who are on the Congo side, who are being accused of being Rwandese, it's kind of like crossing the border into Tanzania and then accusing the Tanzanian Maasais of being Kenyan.
Yes.
Wale Wajaluo
Yes.
wale Wajaluo wa Tanzania, Wajaluo wa Kenya.
Same thing.
Yes.
And you see, again,
absolutely,
history, just history. Hatufunzwi. So we've got these stories, and then on top of that, like Omosh was saying, we are not really telling our own stories. All we are doing is we are copy pasting. Hatufanyi upelelezi, hatuendi kuketi chini. We are not interrogating. We are not booth. All these media houses don't have, like Bandi was telling us, it is expensive, but just for the sake of journalism, you can go, unafanya upelelezi, you sit down, you investigate, you come up with a story. You come up with factual stuff, and then you just let people know so that people can know. Because sometimes we are fighting, and like now, for example, we are casting aspersions on the Somalis or our brothers and sisters Kule Northeastern without even understanding history.
Correct.
And that leads us to down a very bad and dangerous road because you start being biased.
The bias is bad.
Oh, the bias is bad.
The bias is
and that is the problem.
Really bad.
Because the notion is watu wanakuja si wa hapa wamekuja kuzaa they've taken over Isli whatever. Ngoja sasa you guys will be ruled. Angalia Wasomali wanaenda wananunua mabase, wanaenda wananunua broti makuta Wakikuyu, you guys are in trouble. That is the narrative.
Correct.
And chances are these are probably people who are born within the Kenyan borders who are Kenyan. But the fact that
you see the reason why sometimes governments do not want to educate people is because these politicians know once people have this information and they're educated, it's difficult to manipulate them. So right now, it is so easy to go tell the average Kenyan, like our Somali, they're the reason why, like things are not. It is so easy to do that. It is so easy to manufacture that hate when this knowledge is not there at all. It is so easy. You always have to ask yourself a question. Whenever a politician comes and tells you, Wale, those other people from that other community are the reason why you're not doing well, your radars have to go up immediately, because they prey on the fact that people don't know these stories, they don't know this history. So it's easy to manufacture a story and create hate and to manipulate political opinions in an area where now people will start saying, oh, unaona hawa watu wamekuja kuchukua kila kitu, hawa watu wamekuja kufanya hivi. So that's the reason why they like people staying uninformed, because once people start learning all these things, it's difficult to come and tell someone nendo kamchukia Ali na Ali hajakufanyia kitu. It's very, very difficult to do that. But when people don't have this information, it is very easy to whip emotions. Look at how people are manipulated. One day mnaambiwa ati Wajaluo ndo enemies, and then the next day, oh, Wajaluo sawa wamekuwa marafiki, now it's the Kikuyus who are enemies. This thing needs to stop.